Good morning. I'm going to call to order the October 11, 2023 San Diego County Board of Supervisors Land Use meeting to order. Can you please call the roll, clerk?
Thank you, Chairwoman Vargas. Before I call the roll, I'd like to note for the record that Supervisor Desmond is absent. With that noted, I will call the roll. Supervisor Anderson. Here. Vice Chair Lawson-Remer.
Here.
Chairwoman Vargas.
Vargas here. All right. We will now hear the report of actions taken yesterday in closed session. County Council, is there anything to report?
Yes, good morning. The Board of Supervisors met in closed session on October 10th, 2023 from 4:30 p.m. to 4:51 p.m. The board took no reportable actions. End of report.
Thank you. We will now proceed with non-agenda public communications. This is an opportunity for the public to address the board on subject matters within the board's jurisdiction, but not an item on today's agenda. The only action that the board may take is a referral to the Chief Administrative Officer. Reminder, according to Rule 4A, members of the public that are non-English speaking and need interpretation assistance will get twice the allotted time for their comments, which is 4 minutes. As a reminder, according to the board rules and procedures, audience members shall not whistle, clap, stomp feet, or anything that disrupts the proceedings. To better facilitate the meeting, we will have 5 speakers in person, 5 speakers via phone, and the rest of the non-agenda public communication will be heard at the close of today's meeting. Clerk, can you please call the speakers for the public?
Thank you, Chairman Vargas. We have 15 requests to speak on matters not listed on the agenda. 5 individuals in person and 10 requesting to speak via phone. For those that requested to speak via phone, if you could please dial into the conference line now using the instructions that were provided to you. We'll begin with the in-person speakers. As your name is called, please come forward and stand against the east wall under the murals until it is your turn to speak. You'll then have 2 minutes to address the board. I'd like to invite forward the following individuals: Michael Brando, Hermes, Robert Gurman, Cortese, and I believe it's Apri. You may come forward in any order.
Everybody ready? Kind of wait till my slide gets up, please. Thanks. Ready? We ready, Mr. Sharp?
We're ready. You can go.
Yeah, okay, go. Robert Gurman, Lakeside. 7 citizens groups, 2 lawsuits. This is the result of the Aerotropolis plan concocted by the past administration. This strategic plan has touched every community in San Diego County. I am trying to be optimistic that Channel 8 will do an unbiased report on Carlsbad Airport. Channel 8 has a history of promoting aviation and downplaying the negative aspects of aviation. I believe the authority has been hijacked by the business leaders of San Diego and have forgotten our airports are public use airports, not private airports for certain industries like tourism. I agree tourism is a main pillar of jobs, but a good economy is diversified. Quality of life is equally important, which includes social justice, housing, the military, and our education system. Can San Diego afford having non-elected, appointed airport authority board members dictate our future aviation needs for our citizens? Huge money is being spent by these appointed political board members with no accountability to the public. Airport money is not free money. Our land is not free land. San Diego County Regional Airport Authority cannot abuse their power. San Diego County Regional Airport Authority must be held accountable for their decisions. We will start with the San Diego County Grand Jury's 19 volunteer citizens that have San Diego County's best interests as their goal. We will be asking for the board to support us in dealing with the San Diego County Grand Jury in investigating the San Diego County Regional Airport Authority. Thank you. Any questions? Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Michael.
In addition to opposing this, I would ask the council president to please demonstrate decorum and courtesy while addressing members of the public. who come before the council. Interruptions display a lack of confidence as well as a violation of the Brown Act's intent to allow the public to participate without being chastised or insulted by the elected officials they seek to address. Please remember the council is already under 2 lawsuits regarding Brown Act violations. Please don't add additional examples to bring before the court on that same matter. The Brown Act often is violated through procedural barriers that discourages people or prevents people from having comments on issues that they care about, or they are told how they can have those conversations, which is not under the Brown Act. The public is allowed to speak. It's our First Amendment right at the constitutional level as well as our right at the state level.
Those were 2 comments mashed together by Lori Saldana at City of San Diego City Council, because the same behavioral issues are going on there with Sean Elo Rivera as they are here with Nora Vargas. On a different topic, I want to give a shout out to the comments of people that are doing a great job. Audra, some people don't like the original draw because she cusses sometimes. Well, I bet those same people watch vulgar TV where there's lots of cussing. Mike Borello does great work. He's going to be doing work on the fake climate science. Truth, she does detailed work. Diving into the minutia of issues with great sense of humor. Mark Dorian keeps hammering on the same things that need to be brought to attention. Consuelo has such a big heart, big passion, love of life, and is a generous, generous soul. And Paul the Bold takes his time and does detailed research to really look at what's going on. This is what a constitutional republic is all about. Get involved, people.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hey, how you guys doing? Hermes here. So let's go ahead and talk about elections. The only way to identify an unidentifiable object is a different unidentifiable object. Why? And I'll continue asking this question so you cannot dodge it when it finally hits you in the ass. Why is it that you guys chose not to have reporting districts for Newsom's election? Why was it that Congress, Senate, Assembly did not want to know how their people voted? Why didn't the registrar break up the county into groups? Why did we try to limit it down to 1 ballot type, but we couldn't because of the city council district's charter? Why were we trying to do that? Was it because we want fraud to happen? We wanted the results to take place the way they took place? I'm still asking why you guys chose not to have reporting districts if reporting districts would be the only way to identify fraud. Why are you trying to reduce the ballot types that people can mistakenly switch out? The ballots underneath that table, most likely, back in 2020, were ballots that were mistakenly put in, switched out, fraudulent ballots. That's why all of them came out one way when they were counted. Here's an issue. When you open up the envelope, you have signatures. You have 1,000 signatures. Let's say 500 of them come back with the wrong ballot type. What are you going to do? Not count them? No, you counted them, right? I have a letter stating you counted them, that you didn't even look to see if they were the right ballot type before you counted them. And then you told me I'm an idiot for even questioning that. So why are you not paying attention to that? Of course, you don't want to hear anymore.
Thank you.
Don't
Next
worry.
speaker.
Poster's coming.
Good morning. My name is Cortez Rochelle, and for the record, I identify as an Indigenous American with an original Indian of Americans, or before non-reservational Indians was reclassified as Negroes, Blacks, and African American. But moving on to what brought me here this morning would be to discuss the homelessness crisis here in San Diego. Yesterday, I watched the board meeting via YouTube, and the supervisors unanimously gave away $3 million to non-U.S. citizens and $1 million for a diversion program that seemed to be aimed towards single individuals. A one-time $1,500 payout. I heard Mr. Reamer tell the story about the man whose girlfriend broke up with him sleeping out of his car, but nothing for families of San Diego County who by default spend the most money on the economy. And shortly thereafter, I received an email from a county employee stating that the program had exhausted fund. And even though all the long months me and my family waited patiently working with the county staff and their employment service PCG only to have no solution after months, and now me and my family will be on the streets within 2 weeks. So we are being told with no resources. This situation is not exclusive to me alone, but there are many families across the county of San Diego, some who I personally know who will suffer, and some who already are suffering due to the county's non-action to act and continue supporting the voucher program. Me and my family spoke directly to Chairwoman Vargas over the phone on September 16, 2023, after waiting 4 months for the meeting. We were told we would receive a call back after Ms. Vargas reached out to PCG, and that was just short of 30 days ago, and me and my family have not received any solution. So I asked the entire board this question. You guys are all campaigning on helping women, children, families, but decisions you make does not reflect what you campaigned on to be elected to the office you currently hold. And if any of you see it being humane to support migrants while putting your own constituents on the street to fend for themselves with small children during this crisis the whole county is aware of.
Thank you.
Sir, just for the record, I know somebody has followed up with you and that they did offer housing for you in El Cajon when we spoke, and you said that you didn't want that location. So
No,
my
ma'am.
team will be following up again. I know that they're trying to do everything possible to exhaust that. And so we're going to continue to work with you. I appreciate that you came here, but I just want to make sure that for the record, it's clear that we have been.
No, ma'am.
County staff has been working with you, but thank you for being here.
Yes,
Appreciate it.
that is not inaccurate, but I will leave it there. I
Thank
yield.
you.
Thank you. And last call for Apri. We will now hear from those that request to speak by phone. Again, we will be hearing from the first 5 callers. Remaining callers will be heard at the conclusion of today's session. When it is your turn to speak, you'll be unmuted. You will hear a recording that will tell you to begin your comments after the beep. Again, I'd like to remind the callers that they should mute their TV or live video stream before they begin speaking, and we'll go ahead and begin with our first caller.
Paula Bold. Thank you, Michael, and thank you, Robert Gurman. Too often, the county declares emergencies for situations it could have foreseen, like Tropical Storm Hillary, or for things that started years ago, like the TJ sewage issue. The time you take declaring these false emergencies, you could have been planning or doing good stuff. Several court decisions say the term emergency has long been accepted in California as an unforeseen situation calling for immediate action. Not only must urgency be present, the magnitude of exigency must factor. Emergency is not synonymous with expediency, convenience, or best interest, and that imports more than merely a general public need. Emergency comprehends a situation of grave character and serious moment. It is evidenced by an immediate and substantial threat to public health or safety. For instance, the Court of Appeal reversed a summary judgment due to a question of facts regarding whether a true emergency existed, and the city waited 57 days after the Coalinga earthquake to demolish an allegedly unsafe building. Last meeting, you declared an immigrant crisis for a long-term problem and scheduled a report for October 24th. We should not have to wait that long to find out what our county is doing or not doing, and so that we can know what current needs are so we can help direct further assistance without reinventing the wheel. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to our next speaker.
Good morning. My name is Diane Grace, and I'm a mother, grandmother, and have served on many youth boards over the years. I come today to applaud the continued support by the Board of Supervisors to increase mental health services in our county. Never was it more important for children and young adults. As you know, Rady's Children's Hospital has been working to expand their facilities where their treatment beds have been perennially full. Their press release regarding the situation reads, quote, "In the past 5 years, the number of psychiatric visits to Rady has gone from 250 per year to 250 per month. Of the Rady Children's pediatric patients experiencing behavioral health crisis, 32% were triaged to the psychiatric emergency department. While rates of depression and anxiety have increased across age groups, children and youth are experiencing some of the greatest challenges. Young people increasingly report experiencing severe depression and anxiety. It is important to protect kids so that we can ensure their future success by responding in a comprehensive way. Our county needs to expand any decision that normalizes or commercializes drug use, such as the expansion of marijuana storefronts in the unincorporated areas of the county. Parents like me feel that the risks of today's high-potency THC marijuana products and its effect on young adults' mental health are being overlooked by the county. The county's investment must first be in our most valuable children because this impacts society on many levels, not increasing marijuana.
Thank you. Your time is up. We'll go to our next speaker.
Good morning. My name is Jennifer Kirschbaum. I'm a resident of the city of San Marcos, and I'm calling about a very specific land use violation. There's a conservation easement that is county property, but adjacent to the city of San Marcos. It's APN 223-082-060, and this parcel was designated as an open space reserve per a map that was recorded as early as 1997. So for 24 years, this beautiful piece of property was sitting as a conservation easement until 2020, when the County of San Diego Public Works dumped a large amount of asphalt on the property. Shortly after that, they spread the asphalt around to make a road. So I complained to Supervisor Desmond about this, and I referenced the San Diego County Code of Ordinances, Section 8712, which says it shall be unlawful to allow any structure, grading, or clearing on a property contrary to the express terms of the open space easement or conservation easement. So the Public Works is directly violating the County Code of Ordinances, and this is being allowed. I didn't get a response from Supervisor Desmond.
Jennifer, we're going to pause your time for 1 second, okay?
Sir, you're disrupting the meeting. Sir, you're disrupting the meeting.
You are.
Go ahead.
Jennifer, you can begin your comments again.
Okay, so I did get a response from the County Public Works, and they didn't even reference the County Code of Ordinances that I was telling them they violated. Their response was simply that they're not in the city of San Marcos, so they don't have to follow those laws, which is ridiculous, a ridiculous response. So they do not need roads in there. There's no utilities. There's no need for heavy equipment. It looks like there was just excess asphalt that they needed a place to dump, and they put it on this open space easement, which should be protected by law.
Thank you. Your time is up. We'll go to our next speaker.
Gonzalo. Yeah, it was so refreshing to hear another voice speaking out about the injustice there. Thank you, Michael. I hope you help that person, Nora, because you were freaking rude to him right now, even. Just another reminder.
In addition to opposing this, I would ask the council president to please demonstrate decorum and courtesy while addressing members of the public. who come before the council. Interruptions display a lack of confidence as well as a violation of the Brown Act's intent to allow the public to participate without being chastised or insulted by the elected officials they seek to address. Please remember the council is already under 2 lawsuits regarding Brown Act violations. Please don't add additional examples to bring before the court on that same matter. The Brown Act often is violated through procedural barriers that discourages people, it prevents people from having comments on issues that they care about, or they are told how they can have those conversations, which is not under the Brown Act. The public is allowed to speak. It's our First Amendment right at the constitutional level as well as our right at the state level.
Just another true story, just right now. 15 minutes ago, met somebody, asked him if he knew who Nora Vargas was. He's like, I think so. He's like, oh, is she that county lady? Yeah. My wife can't stand her. True story, girl. You better clean your reputation up.
Thank you.
I'm done.
Our next speaker.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. Ann Riddle here. Thank you for letting us do call-in to express our thoughts and concerns. The parent community truly appreciates it. We want to thank you for your past support of legislation AB 1207 and thought we would give you an update that unfortunately it arrived at the governor's desk and over the weekend he vetoed it. This was a heartbreaking situation from all of its partners, which included California PTA, several of the counties like yourself, several of our cities, the American Academy of Pediatrics, California Society of Addiction Medicine, and many others. The partners all released a statement yesterday regarding this disappointment. And a couple of statements from this press release I'd like to share with you today. They just, for example, they pointed out that a significant portion of marijuana retailers and online businesses profit heavily from the sale of these highly psychoactive candies and snacks, as well as high-potency flowers and concentrates that are often marketed with names and images imitating candies or foods widely marketed to kids. With vibrant animation, cartoon characters, fictional animals are popular children's character. And as you remember, AB 1207 would have banned that. Finally, they said, today corporate shamelessness won and kids lost. We are shocked and disappointed that the governor opted to veto AB 1207, a widely supported bill to support children from some of the most egregious marketing practices of the marijuana industry. But again, I thank our county and many of our cities here in the county who supported it. It will come back. The parents will continue to try to change the practices of the marijuana industry that targets our youth. Thank you.
Thank you. And for the remaining callers that requested to speak on a matter not listed on the agenda, please hang up and call back at the conclusion of the session. Chairwoman Vargas, that concludes the request for non-agenda public communication this morning.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes, statements of proceedings for the regular meeting of September 27, 2023. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Please vote.
And Chairwoman Vargas, that motion passes unanimously with all supervisors who are present and voting aye.
All right, we'll now proceed with information of our consent calendar. Items number 1 through 4, members of the public will be able to comment on the consent calendar. After the supervisors pull the items they would like for discussion, I encourage, would any of the colleagues like to pull any items for discussion? Supervisor Anderson?
I don't, and I'm happy to make the motion.
Thank you, sir. Vice Chair Lawson-Weimer?
No, nothing to pull. Happy to second.
Thank you. Go ahead, clerk, can you go ahead and invite the public to speak?
Thank you, Chairman Vargas. We have 7 total requests to speak on items on the consent calendar, 2 individuals in person, 5 requesting to speak by phone. For any members of the public that requested to speak on items on the consent calendar, please dial into the conference line now using the instructions that were provided to you. We'll go ahead and begin with the in-person speakers. As your name is called, please come forward and stand against the east wall under the murals until it is your turn to speak. Now I'd like to invite forward the following individuals: Sean Kilkenny and Hermes. You have 2 minutes to address the board, and if you could please begin by stating your name for the record.
Good morning, Chair Vargas and honorable supervisors. My name is Sean Kilkenny. I live in Carlsbad. I'm a housing advocate and a community entrepreneur. I'm here today just to speak on item 4, although I'm a little premature. Didn't realize this was just setting the hearing for that actual acquisition. But in general, anytime more recreational space can be provided, that's a positive, especially in a community that has experienced development and is scheduled to experience additional development. However, I'd be remiss not to mention the fact that this action will result in the loss of 71 lots that will no longer be developed. The county approved tentative map 5551 on May 17th, 2013. Whether or not those 71 units are ultimately buildable, the result is an outcome of a system in California that makes any new residential development increasingly challenging. And as someone who's trying to provide housing across San Diego, this is a reality I acknowledge. So I'm here to speak for some of those 71 families that won't have a chance to realize the dream of homeownership in San Diego. Families like my cousins Stu and MK, an engineer in the drone industry and a serial entrepreneur who couldn't afford housing in San Diego and moved to Round Rock, Texas. Families like our friends Julie and Josh, an executive with a tech startup and a project manager for a steel construction company who moved to Phoenix. And like my friend Josh, a civil engineer, and his wife who moved to Boise, Idaho to buy a house with more room for their growing family. And these 71 lots were in an area designated for village development, the type of development that the county general plan emphasized in the community development model. More importantly, those homes are in the state of California. The state is the third most GHG efficient state, both in terms of our carbon emissions per capita and our carbon emissions per nominal GDP. So not only are we doing a lot of growth economically, but we're doing it in a way that is much less GHG intensive than other states. But our housing shortage is pushing more and more residents out of California and into states like Texas, Arizona, and Idaho, which I can assure you are far less efficient than California. The equation is not N-1 when a family leaves because GHG emissions move. The equation is actually N-1 plus 2 because they are now in states that are much, much more highly contributing to emissions. So please consider how these actions affect.
Hermes here. Let me go ahead and explain why I was yelling at you. You were having a conversation while people here, spending their time out of their day trying to bring a message to you, you do not have the common courtesy to even pay attention to them. That goes for all of you having that conversation. You didn't give a shit about what we have to say. Obviously, you don't. Right, Nora? Why are you, apparently you guys are in big trouble because you have a power trip issue. Do you like being a cunt? Curiosity. Obviously you do. Fucking.
We will now hear from those that requested to speak by phone. When it is your turn to speak, you'll be unmuted. You'll hear a recording that will tell you to begin your comments after the beep. Again, I'd like to remind the callers they should mute their TV or live video stream before they begin speaking, and we'll begin with our first caller.
It's truth. Item 1, I support the people of Alamo Way and Crest disapproving a tax increase and requesting dissolution of the county-controlled permanent road division. It's costing them about $6,800, but now they're free from county chains that could start saving to fix the roads themselves. Item 2, Jim was all up on this item last time. It says, quote, at the request of groundwater pumpers within Borrego Springs, the court provided holders of groundwater rights in Borrego Springs to work together alongside the county and the Borrego Water District to manage the Borrego Basin through a court-approved process, end quote. So it almost sounds like they're going to have personal control of their own water, but it really gives the county the ability to have a say. And I don't like the new bureaucracy called the water master they have to go through as well. Item 3, the county owned and operated landfills and trash burn sites from the 1940s to 1997. In 97, the county sold 4 landfills. They no longer operate garbage facilities, but retain responsibility for 21 waste facilities. Apparently, these supervisors are not just in charge of hot air at meetings, but also landfill gas. I'm not sure if there's actually a difference, but both require monitoring. More Department of Public Works field crews, consultants, and contractors are needed due to aging infrastructure and increasing regulations because of those dastardly state dictates. Now the cost is going to be $3 million a year, maybe for 5 years, coming from the Environmental Trust Fund, $15 million. And item 4, the county's still trying to scoop up the 60-acre Butterfield Trails Ranch property for $3 million in Valley Center. Supporters, the Friends of Hellhole Canyon, would feel right at home in the county circus chambers. I support a cultural heritage and intergenerational center on the future site, but I do wonder who's going to pay for it. An unnamed conservation group will donate $2 million towards the purchase price. I want to know.
Thank you. Your time is up. We'll go to our next speaker.
Paula Bold, press site. The board letter says that the contracted services include all work required to maintain and repair landfill gas collection and control systems, groundwater monitoring systems, caps, covers, drainage, and stormwater systems, and other related services. It's pretty generic maintenance work, it sounds like. However, you propose to award 2 contracts, one contract for the primary contractor, and the second contract to be utilized if the primary is unable to perform the as-needed services. If the work is in fact generic, why do we need 2 contracts? One may be paid to wait, basically for services not rendered. The Butterfield Ranch thing, $84,000 per acre. I mean, that's ridiculous. The taxpayer is not getting what they expect. I mean, that's outrageous. Groundwater ordinance. The revisions to the ordinance say any future use will be regulated by some superior court decision, which is so highly subject to challenge and overrule on appeal by so many authorities that basing an ordinance on this is not prudent. Speak of the law, do you think there's a reason why so many people are now directly citing and quoting the law and authorities? Maybe you need new legal counsel. And perhaps you can build a desalination plant or pipe in the water from other areas. But the ordinance as written is discriminatory, will cripple areas, businesses, and agriculture, and...
Thank you. Your time is up. We'll go to our next speaker.
I mean, good thing, these people are dissolving this, relationship with you guys, because you can't even, provide what's needed to get the roads in a good manner. But why does it cost $6,800 just to bring it to you guys? Like, that's a bit much. I mean, you guys always, make people, it's like you're wasting money that they could be spending to fix their roads just to come to you guys and try and dissolve it. It's just ridiculous. And then groundwater ordinance, it's like now you have some pro geologists that you want to prepare and sign stuff. You guys are giving people sewer water. This has to do with, like, a bunch of lies. You're talking about prolonged state drought. It's intentional. They're diverting water into the ocean. Like, come on. And we're giving people sewer water because that's the only way that they can get clean water. So anything that you're having to do with water and all of that, I say no, because it's not making anything better. It's just taking control. And, having to do a, new contract just to get the major work that needs to be done, but it's on an as-needed basis. So we have to spend $15 million. When you're talking about you want to protect the public health from the landfill of gas, it's like we don't even look at all the other stuff like the chemtrails, all the, sprayed materials on us, the vaccines that you give people that are totally deadly. And then you want to sit here and take open land like you guys love to do, and you act like you're offering it up to people, when in reality you're taking people's home from their ability to build a home. I thought that's what we wanted to do, is provide more homes, not go, well, we need to provide this space so those people can use it. But unfortunately, you're going to have to move out of state or somewhere else because we're going to take your ability to build right there. It's ridiculous. You guys are always counteractive with what you're doing. It's like, You know, you do one thing and you think it's equitable, and it's not. It's a bunch of BS, and it's just sad that more people don't see it. You know, and they give you all these props and everything like, oh, thank you so much for...
Thank you. Your time is up. We'll go to our next speaker.
Consuelo.
Press sites. The board letter says that the contracted services include all work required to maintain and repair landfill gas collection and control systems, groundwater monitoring systems, taps, covers, drainage, and stormwater systems, and other related services. It's pretty generic maintenance work, it sounds like. However, you propose to award two contracts, one contract for the primary contractor, and the second contract to be utilized if the primary is unable to perform as needed services. If the work is in fact generic, why do we need two contracts? One may be paid to wait, basically for services not rendered.
Because that's how government works.
The Butterfield Ranch thing, $84,000 per acre. I mean, that's ridiculous. The taxpayer is not getting what they expect.
We never do.
That's outrageous.
Totally.
Groundwater ordinance. The revisions to the ordinance, any future use will be regulated by some superior court decision, which is so highly subject to challenge and overrule on appeal by so many authorities that basing an ordinance on this is not prudent. Speak of law, do you think there's a reason why so many people are now directly citing and quoting the law and authorities?
Because they don't abide by it.
Legal counsel.
Rules for thee.
You can build a desalination plant or pipe in the water from other areas. But the ordinance as written is discriminatory, will cripple areas, businesses, and agriculture.
Thank you. Your time is up. And Chairwoman Vargas, that concludes public comment on the items on the consent calendar.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Please vote.
And Chairwoman Vargas, that motion passes unanimously with all supervisors who are present and voting aye.
All right, so there are no discussion items today, so we'll go ahead and go to non-agenda public comment. Clerk, can you please call the remainder of the public speakers?
Thank you, Chairwoman Vargas. We still have 5 members of the public requesting to speak by phone. For those that have requested to speak by phone, if you could please dial into the conference line now using the instructions that were provided to you, and we'll give you a moment to do so. We will now hear from those that requested to speak by phone. Again, when it's your turn to speak, you'll be unmuted. You'll hear a recording that will tell you to begin your comments after the beep. Again, I'd like to remind the callers they should mute their TV or live video stream before they begin speaking, and we'll begin with our first caller.
Man, wonder where Jim is. He's, you know, perfectly gone at the right time, right? And it's just interesting because before, when it was just the 4 of you, right, and no Nathan, you're like, we can't even go to the bathroom if one of us leaves. There's only 4 of us. And then all of a sudden, it's like, we can change the rules, and now if it's 3 of you, then one of you can't leave because then you won't have a quorum. Just wondering how that works. Is it just like a sliding scale on like whatever you really want to decide? But yeah, and it's just interesting that, you know, we continue, like I was just on the SANDAG meeting and, you know, they want to talk about safety and all this stuff. But they never bring up the lithium bomb batteries that are being given and incentivizing people to get into. But we talk about, you know, like if somebody gets hit in a car, whatever, like, you know. We really need to do something about incentivizing people to be in a bomb. And, you know, making sure that those are the only vehicles that are going to be available or the only kind of transit. Because we're going to have a big old fire that we're not going to be able to put out. It's like we're going to be in hell. Is that what you guys are trying to really do? I mean, because it's going to work. In China, they're making them. They're acting like they're the biggest producer, and they're putting them in fields just to sit there because they get money to continue to produce them. It doesn't matter if they're being sold or used. It's a cycle. That's what's happening here, and people need to wake up because it's all a scam, and they're literally setting us up to have a fire that is never going to be able to be put out. And so that will be interesting. At least it will always be light outside. You know, you'll bring hell onto earth, and Satan will be proud as usual. So it's good. Maybe one day, you know, we'll really care about people and their lives and not be incentivizing them to do deadly things, like even put in, you know, a genocide shot into their arm. We'll give you a donut or...
Thank you. Your time is up. We'll go to our next speaker.
This is truth, and anyone who censors free speech is a Nazi. First, the county clown censored my item 6 speech yesterday, so I will repeat the censored part. Quote, the 2025 regional plan will cost over $165 billion, yet they claim that it's fiscally constrained. It'd be wonderful if that actually was fiscally constrained, with a shot collar every time the people's money is wasted, where the disgraced CEO Hassan spends thousands of taxpayer dollars on his lunches every month. End quote. Now let's talk more about yesterday. Nora, yesterday you said you denounced Margaret Sanger years ago, which is good. But I asked you to denounce Planned Parenthood as a whole. I know it was, quote, a really good job to give up, end quote, but I think of the Black American babies killed at a record rate. And Nora, as the interruption instigator, you are wrong in interrupting Michael Brando. He was speaking his concerns during non-agenda. There was no topic for you to dictate the parameters of. That was the nonsense. Nora's nonsense, specifically. So an apology is owed. Now related, I want to inform the public of the story of what transpired regarding the Speaker, Charles Evan II. His daughter broke down while walking away from the podium. Consuelo, Michael, and Brandon Durant comforted her. Helen then ordered Eric McDonald to go check on her. He did not go of his own volition or emotion or concern for her health, while there were several women in tears. Regardless, the scene was heavy, and the positive is that several different kinds of people came together to uplift and care for this family they didn't even know. And I captured this moment in a photo. Lastly, I wanted to give a thanks to Ryan for recognizing last Wednesday meeting that I was signed up to speak on closed session. And accurate or not, Cortez was an eloquent speaker. So I'll see you at Sandag, Joel and Nora. Thank you.
Thank you. And Chairwoman Vargas, that concludes the request for non-agenda public communication this morning.
Thank you. With that, this session is adjourned.
The next regular meeting of the board will take place on Tuesday, October 24th at 9 a.m.